Excellent. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to 101. Welcome to the Tottenham versus Arsenal game preview. And what we're going to talk about is a little bit of what we think is going to happen with the North London derby. And we're going to give our score predictions. And also, we're going to name the team sheet collectively. So I just want to say hello to the panel. Hey, Tom, what's going on, bro? Good to see you back. What's happening?
Hey man, thanks for having me again. Not much. Looking forward to tomorrow. I've been looking forward to it all week now, so I'm glad it's finally here. Feels like ages ago that we played Leicester. It's weird. I know it was like midweek, but it feels like forever ago. So
yeah.
North London derby. This is the one. This is the highlight of my season. It's just a shame that we can't be there, but still, I'm glad it's going ahead.
And I think what's good about it is that it's a 6-pointer as far as St. Tottenham Day goes, as far as the Europa League goes. All of that really depends on today. If we get a win tomorrow on Sunday, that pretty much gives us a good cushion against Spurs. I mean, they've still got games to play. They haven't been in great form. And it'll just literally slap them by the wayside, and then St. Tottenham's Day would be back. And I know Spurs has only enjoyed it for a few years, finishing above Arsenal, but things like that don't count for nothing. And as I said yesterday in my preview, the last time they won silverware was a League Cup back in 2008. So they really haven't got anything to shout about. It's Expressions is crying his heart out to troops at the moment, and that's never a good thing.
There's a great quote from Gus Poyet today, ex-Spurs player, obviously. And he said, to all the Spurs fans that are laughing at Arsenal fans, saying, we're in the Champions League and you're playing in Europa, blah, 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 blah. He said, honestly, Arsenal have been saying that for decades to us, and they won things along the way. So,
Exactly. I just want to say a big shout out to Liam. What's going on, Liam? Big shout out to 18. Big shout out to Kez. Big shout out to James. Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us today to have a look at this match preview. La African Guna, how have you been, bro?
Things have been all right. Had quite a busy week, so couldn't make Wednesday's show. And to be honest, I'm still recovering from that Leicester draw. As I said, it feels like a loss for me. It's still bugging me. I think that we had that game. And we discussed this on the Facebook on your thread and stuff. Like, I knew, it's classic Arsenal. We know we were gonna regret those chances. With Arsenal, we know that you need 2 goals, like minimum, and then like. It's off of historically, we know as fans, because 1-0 for us, we're there biting our fingernails because we know at some point, even in the 90th minute, something could happen, and it did, unfortunately.
It's worth pointing out, though, I agree with you totally. I'm never comfortable at 1-0, but we didn't really. I don't think we wasted the chances. I think Schmeichel made some unbelievable saves, and on another day, that Lacazette chance is a goal.
Yeah.
But why is it that every time Arsenal play a team that their goalkeeper become, you know what I mean? It's
they have a career day.
Exactly, and yes, there was maybe 1 or 2 good saves, but Lacazette should have still scored regardless. I think he had too many chances, and even Saka had a chance on his right foot, and he should have punished the keeper. But
I'm most annoyed about the inconsistency with VAR when it comes to Eddie Nketiah and Jamie Vardy. I think Nketiah was a sending off. However, if you do send off Nketiah, then Vardy shouldn't be on the pitch, and that's in the first half. We're 1-0 up. We go into the second half with an extra man. For me, we go on and win the game, But a draw against Leicester is not the end of the world. They're a good side.
It is, because that's Champions League done. If we got those 3 points, I think it would have been like we would have had the wind in our sail, and there was been no I would be so tomorrow,
I tell you what, though, that goes to show how far we've come since November, December. The fact that we're pissed off at a draw against Leicester.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just gonna look at the table. Bertram, how you getting on, bro? What's going on?
I'm doing well. A lot of news, and more news, right? My favorite news of the week has been Michael Holdings for the speech.
Yeah. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Said. So
that was amazing.
But what was disappointing during the week is us drawing with Leicester. I thought we should have put the game away in the first half. When we having any complaints about referees and Keddy and all that, we should have been 3 or 4 up.
Yeah.
And I hope tomorrow he makes some tough decision because Pepe has to come back into the team, so he has to figure it out. Yeah. But
the front three is going to be the toughest part of our discussion today, I think, because Saka did so well at right wing forward. But I also think Pepe needs to come back in. It's like we'll find out. But.
And that's an easy choice because you can just move Saka back into the middle. Just want to say a big shout out to CJ, a big shout out to Cool K as well. And CJ saying we were never getting Champions League football. It's hard to say that, bro, because the 3 points at Brighton, the 2 points against Wolves. I mean, let's look at the table now, guys. Let's do that right now as we speak.
I think the problem is Man United and Chelsea have hit form at the right time as well as us. So,
yeah, I mean, looking at the table now, we're in 8th place with 50 points. Had we had those 5 points that we dropped, we would be comfortably in 6th place, just 3 points behind Manchester United. So, think about it, yeah? Champions League, 5th place, 3 points behind with 4 games to go. I think that we would be in a really good shout, to be honest. I think that is, I mean, we've done it to ourselves, really. We can't say that we didn't have the chances. We did. We just didn't make good use of them. So that's all I can really say on that. But guys, it's going to be the first game in the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's a stupid name, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's really strange.
They're waiting for a sponsor to come in. It'll be called the Amazon Stadium or the Nike Stadium. They're waiting for a sponsor to come in and give them 300 mil, 100%.
Yeah, I was told that last week, and an agent said to me, "It's funny, Apollo, because normally the sponsors, when you're building a stadium, that's when you get the deal done. Yeah, that's what every stadium does." And it's funny, this is one of the few stadiums that no sponsors wanted to cough up any money to put a name on it. So that tells you more about the club than it does about the sponsors.
No, I don't necessarily think it's a sponsor with a couple of money. I think Daniel Levy is known as a tough negotiator.
Yeah.
And maybe setting a price which is not reasonable. Because think about it, NFL football is played there along with Premier League soccer. So it's an optimum stadium where you want to have a name brand, given the breadth of the audience who are going to see the stadium. So.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, you want your team in Europe. You want to facilitate the money for sponsorship with a big team. And this team right now for Spurs don't even look like they're going to make the Europa Cup, let alone Champions League. So over to you, sponsors, as I would say. But guys, it's let's give our overall opinion of what we think is going to happen in the game. Tom, what's your thoughts on your prediction at the moment? And also, sorry, and guys in the chat as well, what do you think that the scoreline is going to be for tomorrow's game?
Well, I feel like if we turn up and play the way that Arteta is setting us up at the moment, and if they turn up and stink out the place like they have been recently, I mean, that we really shouldn't, on paper, have anything to worry about this Spurs team. If anybody watched them against Bournemouth, they had 0 shots on target against Bournemouth, and they're the first team since 2015 to have 0 shots on target against Bournemouth, and that was Middlesbrough in the Championship.
Yeah,
that's how bad they are. I mean, they were crap against West Ham. They won the game, I know. They were awful against Sheffield United. They've won 2 of their last 11. There's obviously problems there. Jose Mourinho's not happy. They've got no creativity without Eriksen. They've got no width without Danny Rose and Trippier. Like, they've lost everything. I think Aurier is their main kind of source threat, but he gets into dangerous positions but doesn't seem to do anything with the ball when he's there. So I'm not really worried. The thing I'm worried about is getting like a really bad decision against us, and I'm worried about us keeping 11 men on the pitch, because it seems like we get a man sent off every 2 weeks or something. It's like it's mental.
Yeah,
but I'm going 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. Okay. I'm probably gonna go with 2-0 at the moment. I think 2-0 would be comfortable, and I think that it's gonna game. I don't think they pose any threat to us whatsoever. I know that all of the young kids are getting a run out at the moment. Matt Smith, Zach Medley, Trey Coy, all of them get a run up because the squad is getting really thin. So don't be surprised if we see a shock representation from the youth academy, whether it be on the bench or in the starting 11, because right now the guys are battle hardened. And however, we've had 5 days rest, so I can't really say that too much.
We've had more rest than them as well. I think
exactly, because because they played on that day and they played again after that. So they're up
Thursday,
against it.
On Tuesday.
Yeah. So James is saying it's going to be 3-1 to Arsenal. CJ reckon we will lose 2-1. Wow, okay. 18 saying we'll win 2-0 and it's going to be 3-4-3. Yes, it will be.
It will be.
Kez is going 2-1 Arsenal. Man said, how's Lagos? The African Gooner, what's your thoughts? Predictions?
Yeah, Tom saying 4-0, man. That's great. That's some Thai stuff over there. You're drinking from his bottle, dude. Like, listen, I mean, obviously I want us to win 2-1, but I think ultimately it's going to be a 1-1 draw. We're totally underestimating Tottenham. I don't care what the stats are saying. Tottenham at the end of the day is a really good team, and they will show up. It's a North London derby, and for me, I think Harry Kane is definitely going to score. Just like Vardy, he scores every time. 9 out of 9 games against Arsenal. Harry Kane does the same. So I don't know why we're so optimistic that we're gonna clean the slate with them. For me, I think they're gonna show up, and I think it's gonna be a tough match. I'd be excited for a 2-1 win, but yeah, Mourinho always has it over us, regardless of what team he's coaching. He always has something.
I hate that.
He's one of those guys. So for me, yeah, I'm seeing a 1-1 realistically. That's just my opinion. And I don't think that any of the academy players would be in the starting 11. I think if Arteta does that, there's going to be a lot of questions and pressure on him.
No, he'll go with a similar lineup to he has.
Yeah, he'll go with a strong lineup.
But I'd kind of put question marks over Kane. Kane is playing much deeper than when he was dangerous against us. I think the game was yesterday. No, Thursday night. Yeah, he had more touches in his own penalty area than he did in Bournemouth's.
But don't forget, Aubameyang. We have games where Aubameyang is in the same position, right? So
this is true.
It just depends on where the game is at.
I think Kane has 9 goals against us, and 5 of them are penalties. So it's a little bit overhyped, like how good he is against us. He scores penalties.
Yeah, he scores them. At the end of the day, he scores them. If Pepper scored 5 penalties against Tottenham, are we going to start? We're not going to cry. We're going to take it.
No, I get that, but it's not like Kane is like a danger man. With he needs the penalty to get the goal, and yeah, he puts away penalties. I mean, he's one of the best penalty takers around. But we don't give them a penalty. I don't see him as much of a threat personally.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Bertram, right now, Eric Dier is serving a second of his 4-match suspension. Dele Alli doesn't look like he's going to be fit enough to play. What's your thoughts, Bertram, on the game tomorrow?
I'm just listening to the arrogance of the Arsenal fans. They played a derby game with players who are actually good players. Moore is a good player. Son is a good player. Kane is a good player. They have good players on their team. And when it's a derby game, everything goes out the window. Have you played in derby games where you're the lesser team and your energy and whatever you feel is like totally make you play 100% better than you've ever played before because you just want to get rid of your opponent, right?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, but I think a big factor in that is the fans who aren't going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't disagree. I think there's no home field advantage, but I still think you can hear your fans saying, "Don't let Arsenal beat you." No matter how you're doing, Jose Mourinho hates us, no matter what he says about Arteta. So he's going to be extremely motivated. Now, I mean, it doesn't matter how motivated you are sometimes. Sometimes talent wins out, but sometimes it doesn't. I think in this case, look, we're in a good run. We're feeling good about ourselves. But I'm concerned that the arrogance that the fans have shown may carry over to the players in terms of how they feel and what Spurs run have been. Kane finds form because he's been atrocious, frankly. And people haven't been saying this. He's been atrocious. Son finds form because Son hasn't been himself. Mora finds form. If all these players play to their best, then we have a game on. I expect us to win 2-1. Given how many goals we missed against Leicester, I have no confidence in Lacazette. If he plays tomorrow, he'll probably struggle again. I hope he doesn't, but he may. I do expect us to win, but I'm not sure it's going to be as easy as Arsenal fans. When there's Arsenal fans in different forms, it's the same thing. We're going to wipe the floor with them. Like, haven't you watched our derbies with Tottenham? You never have an idea, either side, no matter where they are, how they come up. Didn't we beat them the last time we played them or the time before that when we were doing as well and they were doing much better? Even though we're in the Champions League, we give them a hard game. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, and I think for me is the last 5 games there, we've lost 3 and drawn 2. So we haven't won our last 5 games there in the league. Outside of that, though, we're third in the league in terms of points from behind, coming back from behind. And Tottenham have dropped 42 points from winning positions. They cannot hold on to a lead for love or money right now. And they're just.
I think their defense is not as good. I mean, they have name players in the defense, but they're not playing well. Sanchez not playing well. Alderweireld not playing well. The defense is not playing well.
I think it's always good for me to find a medium between the panel, and I think it's a little bit of both. I think a little bit of it is about us being bullish, and a little bit of it is about Spurs not feeling confident at all. As I said, look what happened with Troops and Expressions. Expressions was like a turtle trying to hide in his shell. The brother didn't even want to be there. He had not one good thing to say about his team, and it was just like lamb to the slaughters. However, as Bertram has said, we can't go in there being bullish about it. We need to be professional, and professional means forget about their form, forget about the whole thing. Just go in there, do what you're supposed to do. Just play the same way you've been playing over the last 4 or 5 games that has brought you. Because what happened against Leicester was an abnormality. It shouldn't have happened. It was a little blip. If that had been, game on game, then we would have won it. And these are top teams we're talking about. Rolled over Wolves, who are a way better team than Spurs. So right now, guys, let's have a look at our starting 11. Let me push this up on the screen.
I'll say one thing, Apollo, before you go on, which is Tom makes a good point, which is we're not playing at Tottenham. We're playing at some stadium called Tottenham. We're not playing at Tottenham Stadium.
It's new for them.
I mean, that crowd, as you know, is boisterous. Go and give yourself a good feeling. We're not playing at Tottenham. It's almost like a neutral site. Yeah,
I've been at both stadiums on Derby Day, and I've been at the Emirates when we're 2-0 down, and the crowd brings the team back into the game. It's going to be a weird one, It's going to be a weird one. It may not affect anything. The players may be well up for it by themselves, but I think they don't have that extra weapon in their arsenal, on match day. But we'll see.
Okay, guys, let's look at the team. Guys in the chat room as well. Let's hear who you think is going to play. Let's have a look at it. This would be left back in a back three. It's been Klasnach there the last few games. Let's see if our panel or the guys in the chat have any other names to throw into the mix. Do we put Klasnach in there, or do we put somebody else in there? Tom, you go first. Who goes in here? And guys in the chat, let's hear you throw it down.
My back three is going to be very simple. It's Kolasinac, Luiz, and Mustafi. They've done really well in the last 3 or 4 games, and I wouldn't change that. That's based on what we've got available. Holding looked good. What was the game that he looked very good at? Was it Sheffield United, I think, where he played very well?
And Southampton.
Since then, I just think these three have got quite a good balance as a back three. And they look much more comfortable playing in a back three, particularly Luiz and Mustafi. They don't look as error prone having three players alongside each other. So I would just go for that back three. I'd go Kolasinac on the left, Luiz in the middle, and Mustafi on the right.
Okay, so guys, let's have a look and see where we are here. So I would think, there we go, 18 has gone for Holding. Let's have a look. Kuke has gone for Holding. James has gone for Klasnach. Let me see. Rafa's gone for Luiz, Mustafi, and Kola. So everyone's basically looking at going with the same back four. Kev would push Tierney back. Interesting. That's a good shout. In fact, you know what, Kev? I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go for Tierney. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to put Saka at left midfield and put Pepe on the right. So you have to facilitate Pepe's comeback. That means for me, moving Klasnach out of the starting 11 and putting Tierney back in the back three. So good shout, bro. Good shout.
I'm not actually against that option either. I think Tierney could play left centre back with Saka on the left midfield. I'd be fine with that as well. Yeah.
Okay, let African Guna, who would you put there?
Yeah, I think it's funny that we're debating this because there really isn't much debate. I think we don't really have much of a choice. It's going to have to be Kolasinac. He hasn't been playing that bad. And I don't want to I think Tierney is really enjoying that flexibility of going forward, and he brings too much value for us on that left, the left wing back role right now. So I wouldn't bring him back to a left center back because that kills some of the most, attacking side that we have. And if you watch the games, a lot of the times everything is going through Tierney. He's the main guy who's really, pushing the team forward and creating the chances. So I don't want to mess that up, or I don't want to change that up. So I'm going to keep Kolasinac. As we said, Apollo, he's just a man who's filling in a gap at the moment. He doesn't really bring much, but I mean, he does the job, right? So you can't really complain.
Okay, and where have we got here? So we've got Kez is going with Kolo, Lewis, Mustafi again. Kev, Saka. Yeah, I would put Saka left wing back, as the African Gunner just said we don't want to drop off there. Well, we won't have a drop off because Saka would go in his native position, his strongest position. We've all had a few negative things to say about him while he's featured on the right. Well, guess what? Let's put Pepe on the right where he belongs, and let's put Saka on the left. And could you imagine a left side? Yeah, we haven't had this before. A left side with Tierney left back, Saka left midfield, and Aubameyang up front attacking left. That would be devastating. The overlap on that would just be absolute. Spurs wouldn't be able to live with us. So I'm sticking by my choice on that one, bro. CJ agrees with African Guna though. Bertram, who would you put there? You've got the deciding vote, bro.
So you're trying to get all three to run into each other because they
not necessarily because not necessarily because Tierney can defend. So that's a big difference.
There's only 2 positions up for grabs in the entire team. 9 positions are set. What Tom said earlier about the back 3, which he originally said, which he didn't stick to, is the back 3. He's very high in Mustafi. He's obviously very high on David Luiz, no matter what he does, because of how comfortable he's there and his ability to make the out pass. Kolasinac, I think, has been average, but he provides some sense of force. He's very physical. He can pass the ball, even though he has passed it well. And he provides some sort of comfort playing on the left. Saka has scored and contributed in the last 2 games, so why would you want to put him deeper? You want him to be further up the field so he can put the ball in the net, because we haven't been good goal scorers. So I think those 3 sort of pick themselves. I think when we get further upfield, we'll have some questions, but I think those 3 pick themselves.
Agreed.
Right. So, and as I said, I'm going with Tierney on that one, and for the simple reason
I went with Kolasinac really, but I'm not against the idea of putting Tierney back and then putting Saka on the left.
Okay. So then the overall vote has Kolasinac. Yeah, the overall vote has Kolasinac. I wouldn't do that because if there's one weakness Kolasinac has had over the last few games is he can't track players going in behind him, and he's terrible on the overlap, and Spurs will literally eat him alive on that side. No,
but I think what you guys are missing is that Tierney actually plays the entire wing. So unlike some wing backs who plays until a third in the area, Tierney is running from one end of the field to the next. And you don't want to restrict Tierney by putting Saka in the same position and don't allow him to have the entire left side to himself so he can mirror that left side. If you put Saka there, they're going to run into each other.
So do you? What African Gunnar was saying is Tierney's delivery from a wide position when he's up the pitch has been so good that putting Tierney in part of a back 3 does hinder that. I mean, if he's part of a back 3, he's not going to advance much. You're really missing out a huge part of his game.
Yeah, but then you're filling that with Saka. So Saka, nobody's got a problem about him going forward. I don't think he missed anything at all, to be honest. So guys, do we all agree that it's going to be David Luiz and Mustafi that are going to fill those other 2 slots? If there's anyone that has got a problem with that, let me know, and then we can change it up.
All good.
Yeah, okay, that's all good. So guys, we've got our goalkeeper, we've got our back 3. So let's move over to the midfield. Guys in the chat as well, who would you put on that left side attacking midfield role? Tom, over to you.
Tierney.
It's going to be an easy one, that is. African Guna?
Yeah, I before I say Tierney, I just want to re-emphasize what I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks, and this is specifically to Bertram, about how good Tierney is, and I still stick that he's better than Nacho Monreal. And in the last 5 games, he's shown so much. I can't even make comparisons. For me, he's just so much more dynamic, and he's doing what Nacho Monreal did at such a younger age, which for me means that his ceiling is so much higher, which makes him a better player in my eyes. So yeah, I mean, unquestionable.
In Scotland, they rate him higher than Robertson. That's how good he is.
Oh yeah, big time. So who are you going with?
Tierney.
Okay, Tierney. And James is going with Tierney as well. Kulke's going with Saka. Rafa say it's not a real question. Yeah, it isn't. I can't see anything outside of Tierney. Bertram, can you see anything outside of Tierney?
No.
Okay, so we got 3 guys there, and including me, that's going to be Tierney. Who's going to be the holding midfielders on the left side, guys? Let's go with Tom. Tom, who goes on that left side of the holding midfielder roles? Guys in the chat, who would you put in there on the left side? 2 holding midfielders.
Based on who we have, it's Xhaka all day long.
Okay, good. Xhaka, the African Guna.
I'm sorry, man. I know Tom and I have had this discussion over Facebook, man. This guy's trash, man. This guy's trash. He doesn't really bring anything to our team, honestly, man. And I think Torreira can do what he does. So why wouldn't I play Torreira over Xhaka? I'm keeping Ceballos in the team. We've seen that we can't take him out. He's the creativity. And I think in terms of a warrior and defensive midfield, Torreira is double the player that Xhaka is. I mean, we talk about his passing and stuff as if Torreira can't do that. So, and Torreira is not going to make any of those, stupid challenges and potentially won't get a red card in the game. So I'd have to go with Torreira.
This is going to be a good shout because Torreira, when they came to the Emirates and we beat them 4-2 last season, Torreira was just ripping them one, man. He was absolutely dominating that game.
He won me quite a bit of money. I had both teams to score and Torreira to score and Arsenal to win.
Wow. So let's see what the guys are saying. Kev has gone with Xhaka. 18's gone with Xhaka. Rafa's gone with Xhaka. It's a shame David ain't here because Xhaka's his favorite player. David, you're probably going to watch the repeat of this, so I'll put you down as a vote as well for that, David. James has gone for Torreira. Kez is saying I wouldn't play LT. Yeah. James has gone with Torreira as well. Kuke's gone with Torreira. Kez has gone with Xhaka. And two up has gone with Xhaka. Xhaka is finally showing his Mönchengladbach form. Torreira for CJ as well. Bertram, who are you going for?
So apart from Aubameyang, Arteta's most trusted players on the field are David Luiz, Mustafi, and Xhaka. Isn't that ironic that we don't have fans in the stand to destroy the manager and destroy the players' confidence? His 3 more trusted players are the 3 who are deemed to be error-prone and poor and should be gotten rid of. And they're the first picks he have in his team. He's pushing for Mustafi to get a contract. So maybe it says something about the fans more than the manager, frankly, that fans in Arsenal need to better support their players and maybe they help them build up their confidence.
I don't think that's an option. The fans don't respect the player. He told them to F off.
It's not even that. I don't know why people bring that up. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with his talent and what he brings. I mean, his quality.
Guys, stop. Mustafi, David Luiz, Xhaka, they get blasted 24/7 all day, every day. I listen to a lot of forums, whether it's AFTV, all these different forums, they get blasted. We do it more than any other team. And what we should do is say, look, you may not be good enough, but while you're here, we're going to support you, and we hope they move you on. And because players play with confidence. They're human beings. They have feelings.
I agree. I would say that I think Xhaka and Mustafi and Luiz have been playing well since around January time, though. I don't think it's just new since we restarted. I think even in front of fans under Arteta, we were in pretty good form with them, and they were vital.
And don't forget that. No, go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
Yes. So, I mean, you look at the 2 games that we lost as soon as we came back from lockdown, and the noticeable omission was Xhaka. He got injured after about 15 minutes against Man City. We went on to lose. Obviously, Luiz had a horror show that day. But then 3 days later, we lost 2-1 to Brighton, and Xhaka was out injured. Now, since he's back in the team, you notice the difference in our performance level. He links attack to defence really well. His passing ability, he's involved in it. Everything goes through Xhaka. And I know lots of people see him, he can be careless on the ball, he can be a little bit slow. he's got his limitations, but I think the influence that he has on our team, not just being a big personality and being like quite a big sort of warrior in the middle, but also with his passing vision and just linking up play is very underrated. And I think we get a bit too hard on Xhaka and Mustafi as well. Mustafi's been brilliant. So
yeah, one thing I wanted to point out from the comments is, first of all, as I think CJ mentioned, they're senior players. They're one of the most senior players in the team. The second point is that Torreira actually hasn't been fit, fully fit, 100% match fit since Arteta's been back. So that might also play, into why he doesn't get into the team, or he hasn't been getting into the team, obviously. And then, obviously, Tom, I do agree with you. Xhaka does bring something to the team, but I mean, he cost 40 million. He's the most senior player. I mean, it's expected that he can be able to pass his stuff. It's not an incredible feature. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at Bruno Fernandes, he's like 3 times the player that Xhaka is, and they cost almost the same amount of money. He scores goals, he can defend, he can create. I mean, I don't understand what people see.
I agree with you. I think if we're gonna be a side that goes on to challenge for the league title, we're not going to do it with Xhaka in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly.
But based on what we have available, we are a lot worse when he doesn't play than when he's in the team. For me,
yeah, I have to agree with 18 here. I think everything in the team goes through Ceballos. I think he's the guy. He's the reason why this thing's been working of late, because he's the guy that is just backing up the midfield. He's providing passes to the forward. He's dribbling at defenses and causing them haywire. And unfortunately, the other guy who we're talking about doesn't do that. So I think I agree with 18. I think everything goes through Ceballos. And it's funny because since he's been on form, we've just looked unbeatable in the midfield. So I really can't wait to see what he does against Spurs. He has been so poor at times, Ceballos, where he's just looked disenfranchised with the whole team, but now he just seems on it. And funny enough, we just look like we can beat anybody at the moment. So
we don't have to give credit by taking away credit. We don't have to say Ceballos has been excellent, so that means Xhaka doesn't play well. That is not the point. Xhaka actually, what Arteta says at the end of the game, you know what Arteta says? Xhaka and Ceballos, how they clog the midfield. Xhaka used to get a lot of stupid yellow cards, sometimes red cards. He's almost cut those out of his game. He's playing, but he's slow. We all know he's slow, but his positioning defensively has been much better. Now, the last game, I think he caused that goal because should have pressured Gray. But forget about that, meaning he's clogging the middle, which is what you need to do, and protecting Mustafi and David Luiz. This whole concept was Ceballos play good, so Xhaka is poor. And I see people give grades based on people's reputation versus grades based on performance in a given game.
No one said that.
No, I'm telling you what I heard from Apollo a while ago, and you about Ceballos. When you're talking about Ceballos, the inference then is, well, he's protecting Xhaka, or he's the midfield.
Assumptions. I've never said that because Ceballos is playing well, that Xhaka's not playing well. I say, regardless of who's playing with him, he's still an average player for me. It doesn't matter who he can play next to Messi. It doesn't really matter for me. I think he's a liability. One mistake. I mean, I remember last game he went into a 2-footed tackle, and that should have been a red card on its own. So for me, he's ironed out some of his mistakes and stuff. But something that me and Apollo discussed on Facebook was that pass that Ceballos made. That was an incredible pass. Have we ever seen Xhaka make a pass like that? And how many games has Xhaka played? And then the second thing is we've never seen Torreira play with Ceballos, so we don't really know what that partnership would look like. Imagine that he was fit and he started getting a chance and he was doing better than Xhaka, then we wouldn't have this conversation, right?
How many times has Ceballos made that pass? Wait, no, let me answer the question. How many times has Ceballos made that pass? The one that he made to Xhaka?
Yeah.
How many times?
He's made it one more than Xhaka, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Xhaka made one to Saka the game before, and Saka offside. That was his fault.
No, that was Xhaka's fault because he didn't play the ball on time. There's nothing you could tell me that I haven't seen with my own 2 eyes about Xhaka. He's poor. He's crap. I don't respect the guy because of what he's done to the fans. And you lot can say anything you want about him. For me, he's dead.
No, Apollo, you're missing the point. We're not saying Xhaka is great.
I know your point. I just don't agree with it.
Wenger, Lundberg, Arteta, Emery, they all start him.
Yeah,
why are we so great? Why are we such great managers on the sideline? And these managers managing day to day are starting him. I'm missing something.
There's no one else to start.
No, you're right. You're right. They've all started him, and guess what? They've all had in common. None of them were able to finish in the top 4.
Yes.
Point taken.
Well, if Emery had played the right team against Crystal Palace, we would have been top floor. I'm not buying that.
I don't forget. What was it? Gwendouzi and El Neni played in the middle for that game.
Unbelievable. Thank you very much, Mr. Emery. Thank you very much. So, guys, who's going to play next to him? Do we all agree? It's not even worth talking about anything outside of Ceballos. Yeah? So we pen Ceballos in, unless somebody... Yes. Yeah, Ceballos, okay.
By the way, Chelsea's losing 2-0 to Sheffield United, just so you guys know.
You know what? Sheffield United have got their group back. Remember, we were talking about this honeymoon period that they were in where everything was going to fall to pieces. They've bounced back pretty good. So our FA Cup win against them looks even better because their form has always been good this season. Great effort by Sheffield United. Guys, this is the reason why we were talking about putting Saka on the left in Kieran Tierney's position, because Pepe is due to come back. So interesting to see what everybody's going to choose here. Does Saka keep his position here, or does Pepe come in and take his rightful position back? If that happens, for me, it means that Saka, our most exciting young player, won't even get in the team. So it'd be interesting to see where we go from here. Tom, who goes here? Guys in the chat as well, throw up your right.
This is one of the
winger.
toughest positions because Suarez has been great. Bellerin, who I kind of wrote off, was very good against Leicester, particularly in the first half when we were playing well. And actually, Niles has a good relationship with Pepe, and he's played well there too. But I would go with Suarez. He would be.
I would go with Suarez. I agree that I would go with Suarez as well. 18 says Suarez. Kev has said Niles. Yeah, James, Pepe would play further up the pitch, so it wouldn't necessarily be in this position. It would be as the attacking right. So maybe that was my fault for mentioning his name where I did. I was making an analogy playing Saka as a right wing back or as a right winger on that side. I was basically saying if he doesn't play there, he's not going to get in the team because he isn't going to play for further up the pitch. That's going to be where Pepe plays. So in my opinion, this is the only place that you can put Saka, but I wouldn't put him in there. I like what I see from Cedric Soares, so I personally would pay Soares. Kev, as I said, has chosen Maitland-Niles. Tony agrees. Soares at attacking right back. Who else is CJ saying Soares as well? James is saying Soares. Then Kez is saying Soares. Well, everyone's throwing on Soares. The African Guna.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's good that you have to make these type of hard decisions. That's what you want in every position. Players competing and fans saying, "Oh, which one should I be picking?" They're both playing really well. I agree. Suarez has been playing pretty well. He's only played one game. Let's not forget. I mean, we're kind of overhyping him. He did score a goal. He was incredible. But I mean, we need to see that consistently, which I think he can provide, but we haven't seen it yet. I think Bellerin had a really good first half against Leicester, and I think because this is the derby and he understands the meaning of this game more than Suarez, I think Arteta will pick him. Even though I wouldn't mind seeing Suarez, I think Bellerin, just because it's the derby, he'll get picked.
But remember, bro, you said we haven't seen him, but we've been watching him for Southampton for ages. That's the reason why.
I know. But he just had an injury. He's been off for a while. I wouldn't be upset at all. I just think that because it's a derby, 100%, I think Bellerin is going to get the nod over him.
Okay, excellent. So, oh God, have I lost my screen here? I think I have. I think I've lost my screen. So let's see if we can get this back. Bertram, who would you go at the moment for right wing back? And let me get my screen back.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's Bellerin. I don't think there's a lot of this. Look, we're just like we did when Tierney first joined us. Tierney was okay. He got manhandled when he played like West Ham. He's now demonstrated his capability and is really showing why we bought him from Celtic. Same thing with Suarez. He's playing for Southampton. Now he's playing for Arsenal. Whole different ball game. He was okay the last game. He wasn't exceptional. And he's coming from a long injury. Bellerin played exceptionally well in the first half against Leicester. All he had to do was sort of put the ball in the net, frankly. We complain about him not overlapping enough and supporting the right enough. So I think he's done enough to warrant him being selected for this game. And as African Guna says, it's a derby game, and Bellerin is very familiar with derby games, so why would you pick him? So long as he's fully fit and recovered from the Leicester game.
Okay, excellent. Something's happened. My computer's locked up a little bit, so I can't get the screen back. left attacking midfielder then. So we're talking about now the front three. Who would you guys prefer in there? Saka, Aubameyang, who goes into that position? Does the captain keep his position? Of course, it's a derby. You have to think about where you're going with it. But again, I can't really see Saka getting in this team at the moment. And he's all the media have been talking about. So talk to me. Tom, who goes there?
I'm going to put Saka left wing.
Excellent.
I like the idea of having Lacazette in the middle, drop in, and Aubameyang being on the left, but Saka can't not be in the team. So we've got a good problem, For once, we've got selection headaches where actually we've got players who are doing well in different positions, and we're kind of we're not, in certain positions we're quite spoiled at the moment. But I would go for Saka on the left of the front three.
Okay, so you'd go for Saka, the African Gooner. And guys, who would you go for on the left attacking side? Guys in the chat, please throw your numbers up. The African Gooner, who are you looking at there?
Yeah, I was quite confused why you were struggling to see Saka in the team, because for me it's quite obvious. Nketiah is out, which means, and we know Lacazette is not able to do 90 minutes, especially in such a high tempo game. So yeah, automatically for me, it's going to be Saka on the left wing, and Oba is going to be moved to the center forward position.
Okay. So we've got James going with Aubameyang. We've got Rafe going with Saka. We've got Tony going with Saka as well. Boy, it don't look like it, either that or Aubameyang's going to be the man that's going to replace Eddie Nketiah and Lacazette. I think that's probably where you guys are going with this. Bertram, what would be your choice?
I agree with Tom, and I agree with African Gooner. I just think Arteta sort of fixing his ways. Even though I prefer Saka on the left, Pepe right, and Abba through the middle, I get a sense he's going to start Laka and start Abba on the left. That's how he operates. And then the question, he may put Pepe on the bench, frankly. Don't be surprised if Pepe is on the bench. He hasn't played the last 2 games. Team is going well. He may just put him on the bench.
I 100% think he's either going to bench Saka or Pepe, and he's going to play Oba on the left and Laka down the middle.
That's so questionable. As a fan, and you see that, I mean, how can you not be worried? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Listen,
that's why you're a fan, African Gooner. You're a fan.
For sure. But I mean, if millions of Arsenal fans are saying the same thing, and clearly, the fans watch the team as much. You know what I mean? The fans obviously watch the team every single week, so clearly we know what we're saying as well. We don't have to be managers to know that Aubameyang should be playing in the center forward position, and Saka shouldn't be removed from the team, and that Pepe should be starting. I mean, it's pretty obvious for anyone to see that, right? You don't need to be a brainiac. But yes,
it's interesting because Aubameyang actually has a better goal scoring record when he plays on the left than down the middle. I didn't realize this for a long time. And what some of the most successful teams in the country, namely Liverpool and Man City, do is they have a striker who is able to drop deep and link up plays, and they have 2 wingers either side who have that pace and they can dribble and run at players. So you look at Firmino and what he does for the team. I think Arteta wants for Lacazette to be able to fill that kind of Firmino role, where Aubameyang is Mane and Pepe is Salah. And then with Man City, what you've got Aguero, who scores a lot of goals, but he also drops deep and links play and has his back to goal quite a lot, and he's strong. And then you have, they got loads of wingers, but let's say Mahrez on the right and Sterling on the left. And it's that kind of dynamic that he's trying to set up. Now, when you have Aubameyang down the middle with 2 wingers, Aubameyang doesn't do that. He's on the shoulder. So you're kind of missing an element of what Arteta's trying to do there. And that's why I think he's going to go for that.
Yeah, because I think the biggest question for Arteta is my attacking left player going to cut back and try and help win the ball in the midfield? And Aubameyang's doing that. And I think as long as he's helping to do that, then he's working within the system. He's this 3-4-3, he's working within it. If there's any other change, you couldn't. There's certain players that you just couldn't put there because you're not trusting them to fill an actual role. But I think I can see where you guys are going with this. I think what you're essentially saying is Pepe is not going to play in this game, and it's pretty much going to remain the same type of format that we've been running through over the last 4 or 5 games, which kind of works within itself, because if you bring him off the bench, I think that really works well, and then you can afford to then swap things around. So, guys, who plays on the right then? Bertram, did you make your choice on that left?
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer Saka, but I think it's going to be Abba.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And the stat that Tom just brought up, a couple of things which he brought up, which are an interesting point. One is around Abba scoring so many goals from the left, which is actually amazing, frankly. And second of all, the concept of ball retention doesn't reside with Abba at all. He doesn't retain the ball. And like I said, he's an exceptional hold-up player. And people may not realize that. He holds the ball up really, really well. Now he's slow.
I think they do realize it. It's one of
and we don't keep the ball well. So imagine you don't have someone to keep the ball. We're poor keeping the ball. Plus you take Lacazette out of the team, it just makes that even worse in the situation. So I think he probably will go with that as a strategy.
I agree with Kes here, saying Uber can't hold the ball up from the anchor position, playing down the middle, can't really bring those players into play. Yeah, I think. And remember, guys, we have been hard on Aubameyang for not bringing others into play and being more creative. And in the last 4 or 5 games, what have we've seen? We've seen more chances created by him than at any point this season. We've seen 2 assists. And he just looks more of a facilitator now. So all the weaknesses that we said was happening. And you got to attune this to Mikel Arteta's work with him on the training ground. You got to put it to that and only that reason. So I think that that's working with us well at the moment. So on the right, guys, Tom, on the right, attacking right.
Well, so we've put Auber on the left, have we?
Yeah, so it has to be Saka or Pepe here.
It's a toying cost, really. I guess Saka.
Yeah. African Gunner, do you see anything outside of that?
No, I think, I'm sticking with my original, regardless of what anybody else says. I think we made the point that Aubameyang scores much more from the left, but honestly, how many games has he even played in the middle for us to say that, you know what I mean? It's not really a fair comparison. He's played almost all his games from the left, so of course he's going to have scored all his goals from the left. And the other thing is, in terms of hold-up play, we don't really have to play that way. Saka obviously can do the defending and the running, and Pepe is also can do the running and the defending. So imagine those front three. Oba wouldn't even have to really hold up the ball. If we're able to get the ball to Xhaka or Torreira or Ceballos, and our 3 attacking players are spitting off the defenders, we can just go over the top. We don't have to have a player that holds the ball like Lacazette. And that's something that Wenger used to do a lot. So, for me, Pepe is starting on the right. And Saka, for me, starts on the left.
Yeah, I mean, Tony's just made the point there that this Uber Laka Pepe, 180 million, most expensive strike force in the league, has just not got it done for the team this season. Kuke agrees with that. And we don't have, that's the only thing. We don't have a hold-up game. And I think our decision now is whether we're going to put Lacazette back in the middle, knowing that he kind of blew it in the Leicester game. He blew it. Is he going to... Is he going to blow the Spurs? Is he going to blow the Spurs game? That's the next question.
It's interesting. It's interesting, Apollo, because I watched Brendan Rodgers' post-match interview after the Leicester game, and he was saying in the first half that his team could not cope with Lacazette.
He also said in the second half his team was way the better team and should have won the game. And I was like, how could you say your team should have won the game when you were literally going to be 3-0 down at half time?
But I think at half time he talked to them about Lacazette. Lacazette was dropping off. The other 2 were going past, and they were causing Leicester's defence all kinds of problems. And he specifically mentioned Lacazette. He was like, we did not deal with Lacazette, the positions that he was picking up, and that goes unnoticed, I think, quite a lot. I've been critical of Lacazette in the past. I think his fitness has not always been there. His hold-up play hasn't been as good as it could have been. I think Giroud was actually slightly better at it a lot of times. But against Leicester, I thought he was good. And Tottenham, we need to think about the opponent. Tottenham are in a bit of trouble. They've got very slow centre-backs. Eric Dyer has been filling in at centre-back. He's now banned. So they're going to be playing Vermaelen and
Vertonghen
and Alderweireld.
He might as well be Vermaelen, isn't it?
Yeah. But, I mean, they're going to be in trouble with Vertonghen, and if Lacazette can pick up that little spot, just in front of the defense, and we've got fast players like Saka and Aubameyang on the overlap and running. I really think we can cause them some serious problems in their defense. Their centre back partnership is going to be shaky.
Yeah, I don't think their midfield will be able to protect their back four either. And I talked about Dele Alli not even being there. I think in the midfield is where we're going to really, especially in this diamond formation, I think we're going to be too much for them. And I think we're going to overrun them. And we talk about, me and Bertram specifically talk about Arsenal's inability to retain the ball, to have good ball retention. I don't think you need that against this team. I think that you just run at them, you cause them a lot of problems, and they're going to buckle. They'll buckle under the weight. They have been doing this game after game after game, coming up against an informed team, and we are an informed team, guys. I think that this is the reason why Spurs fans are worrying. Bertrand, would you change anything on that right side outside of Saka before I plug his name in?
The only reason why Saka wouldn't play is if he's tired. Arteta has his preferred players, and Saka is one of them. He wants him on the field. That's why he's forced him in the last time, 2 or 3 games ago, he played him in the left midfield position. He wants him on the field, and he's going to find a way to get him on the field.
But remember, he knows 5 days rest, Bertrand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if he's not tired, then he's going to play him.
Yeah.
So, and Pepe hasn't played in a while. So I don't think Pepe will start if he decides to go with Alba on the left. If he decides to play Alba in the middle, which I don't think he will do, then he'll play Pepe on the right.
Okay, guys in the chat, this is going to be an interesting one now because I was quoted in the last podcast to say I would rather put Balogun in there than Lacazette. Oh dear, oh dear. All right, Tom, let's start with you on this one. Guys in the chat, who's going to play at the anchor number 9 position?
With Nketiah unavailable, it's Lacazette.
Excellent. Tom, have you got any? African Guna, have you got anything outside of that?
Yeah. So I think I read somewhere that Pepe was actually playing the number 9 role in training. Not sure if that really means anything, but that's interesting to hear. Obviously, interesting enough to report. And yeah, for me, I think Lacazette still doesn't have the confidence for me. I don't trust him. I think obviously he has a good hold-up play, but I just don't think he'll do the job. So I'm sticking to my Saka, Oba, Pepe.
Pepe's hold-up play is better than Lacazette.
No. Pepe, no, come on. That's not even close.
Hey, Bertram, I said that to trigger you, bro. I said that to trigger you. That's why.
But you know I'm a Pepe fan. I'm a Pepe fan, right? You know I'm a Pepe fan, but
that's why there was a pause of silence there because I was waiting for you to. No, I do agree. I would. I don't know what they're going to do with Pepe, but they have to do something, especially if you're running this system. Because if you're playing with wing backs, then you're dependent on Cedric Soares to offer a lot of support that Pepe, quite frankly, has never really had outside of Maitland-Niles. Bellerin's never given him that support. So look. I agree with Lacazette, but I mean, his record is so poor. He actually broke his duck scoring away from home. It was the classic Lacazette goal with his back to the defender, and he twists him, and then he shoots the ball low. And that is what we want to see. We didn't see that in the last game. And look, what happened with Leicester was an anomaly. We can throw blame as much as we like, but as a striker, as Bertram has said many times, you're judged on the goals that you score. And the top teams are the top teams because they have clinical goal scorers. Liverpool, we know what they're doing. We know what Aguero, Sterling, and them guys, De Bruyne has been doing Man City. The shock this season, guys, has been Man United, how good their front three strikers are and how much they have terrorized teams. They're the informed team right now. United are really scary with those players up there. You know, Anthony Martial, Rashford, I mean, they're just causing...
Greenwood.
But Greenwood, they're causing bags of problems. And Lacazette, you can't carry a player who just cannot put the ball in the net.
Well, it's interesting, though, Apollo, because Firmino only has 8 league goals this season. And, you know, if you have Lacazette doing a job where he's doing such a great job for the team to facilitate others scoring, then that's not a problem. Obviously, it is a problem because we're not we're 8th, right? So,
yeah.
If you look at Firmino and look at what he's doing to facilitate Mane and Salah, who are on fire all the time, then that's great. I mean, Giroud at Chelsea does great. Pulisic and Willian have been banging in goals recently. I noticed Giroud wasn't on the Chelsea team sheet today, and they're 2-0 down. So, that type of player can be great for the team, even if they're not scoring a lot of goals, as long as the other players around them are capitalizing on what they're doing and the whole team is ticking, because they can be a vital cog or like a really, really important piece in the puzzle.
Yeah,
I think the challenge for us is that unlike a Liverpool or a France's national team where Giroud played the entire World Cup without scoring, they have other scorers, right? We don't have that luxury. That's our challenge, because Saka doesn't score a lot of goals if you're playing forward. The only score we have are Aubameyang and Pepe scoring more and more. Our midfield doesn't really score goals. Apart from Ceballos in the last game, it's one-off. So you don't have the luxury of having a lot of goal scorers. You can then afford to have a center forward who's not scoring. That's Laka's problem. Because I think Laka, even with 3 players around him, is comfortable that he won't lose the ball. But we don't have the luxury of a center forward not scoring.
Yeah, and then do we dip into our pockets and try the young 18-year-old? The other 18-year-olds are doing a good job. 18 is saying Balogun, Kuke is saying Balogun, Cricket Ball is saying Balogun as well. I mean, because what they're essentially saying is, I've seen enough of Lacazette. I've seen enough of him. He's not the player that he used to be. I don't want him costing us games. And if you put a young guy in there, you're not going to get any worse. You might.
I mean, Balogun to me is, if you're trying to keep him, like you're trying to keep Abba, so you gave Abba the captaincy, and trying to give him a taste of Premier League, and you want him to sign the contract, yes. But otherwise, this is not under 23 guys. Now you can transition to the Premier League, but this time of the season, unless you just want to try the youth and give them the opportunity to play and feel what it feels like, I'm not sure it's the time to put him in to start. I don't see it happening.
It might not be, but who's our best players on the team at the moment? Ceballos is 23, Tierney's 22, Saka's 18. Though obviously outside of the captain Aubameyang, we all know about Aubameyang's goals. But if you take Aubameyang out of the team, the best players who are performing in this team right now are all young.
That's definitely true, but it's worth pointing out that Saka, for example, started off playing in the League Cup and then the Europa League. He did very well, and then we had injuries at left back, and he filled in at left back. That's how he got his opportunity, rather than just chucking him in against Spurs. It's a slightly different development that they went through.
Yeah. So guys, we've got our team here. We've got Martinez in goal, Kolasinac, Luiz, Mustafi as the back three. Our midfield is Tierney, Xhaka, Ceballos, and Suarez. And then our front three is Saka on the right, Lacazette in the middle, and Aubameyang on the left. Anyone else got a problem with that?
No, I think Martinez has been our best player.
Martinez has been amazing, mate. He's been
our best player.
And a big shout out to you, Ebony, because I know you're going to watch the stream later. You're on your radio show at the moment. Seriously, as I said to you guys, I can't see Leno walking back into this team unless Martez really starts to fudge it up. If Martinez starts making Leno like mistakes, then you can drop him. If he doesn't, I don't see how Leno comes back in. I really don't.
That's what you want, right? You want to get injuries, and when you do, the player can't get back in the team.
For real. So, guys, any closing arguments on tomorrow? We've all given our score predictions. For you, who's going to be the standard? Who's going to be the player that you're looking forward to light this North London derby up? Tom, start with you.
This has got Kieran Tierney written all over it. He's built for a derby. I mean, I saw some article the other day that said that, he ruffled a few feathers because he was training hard and they weren't used to training hard, or something like training how they play. But Arteta loves that. He just strikes me as a guy who was built for North London derbies, and I think he's going to turn it on tomorrow.
Yep, for real. African Guna, what's your closing thoughts?
Yeah, Tom took it straight out of my mouth. 100% Tierney. I mean, Yeah, he's shown the class and the the responsibility, commitment. I mean, he's the player that I would like at every single position, really. I mean, if you had 11 Tierneys, we would be much better off than we are right now, to be honest. And that's great to see. I think also Ceballos has to be mentioned. This guy's he's so key in our game right now. He drives the team forward, and I think if he doesn't have a good game, we won't be able to control that midfield. And I think we're disregarding that Dele Alli is a good player. I mean, he is a good player and he can show up. I know he hasn't been playing well and stuff, but he's
not fit. He's not fit at the moment.
Fit. He's not even going to play.
Okay. He's not fit. The only problem is, and I've said this about 5 times in the last 7 days, is that Klasnach is a liability on the overlap and playing behind. And Tony has just alluded to that point. Keep Son quiet and we win the game. 100% Tony. The problem there, I'm afraid, is if you put him on the side of Klasnach, he's going to rip Klasnach a new one. And I think that we're going to have to then depend on Kieran Tierney giving Klasnach that kind of support. And look, he's the most dangerous player, in my opinion. For me, he's been playing better than Harry Kane for a very long time. And I think if you keep him quiet, like you said, Tony, then we've got a better chance of winning. So I would tactically look to support Klasnach on that side with Kieran Tierney. Yes, you might lose a little bit of him moving forward, but then what you gain elsewhere is going to be huge. Bertram.
Well, I think the left side is going to be interesting because Aurier is also an attacking force for Tottenham. He's just not a good defender. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out between Kolasinac, Tierney, Aurier, and whoever plays on the right for them. But look, it should be a very good game. I'm looking forward to the game. In terms of who to stand up, if Pepe plays, it'll be Pepe. If Pepe plays, he's going to have a field day. If he doesn't play, then I agree with Tierney and Ceballos, actually.
Yeah, I like the idea of Pepe against Ben Davies.
Me too, as well. Yeah. So obviously, we've all had our say about who we think is going to be the standout play tomorrow. Even though we haven't even named him in the starting 11, I think Pepe could be the difference. I think Pepe would be the one that is going to break the hearts of Spurs fans in whatever stadium they call that at the moment right now. So any closing arguments from you guys before we shut it down? And before we shut it down, guys in the chat room, can you please hit a like button on this video? It doesn't cost you anything whatsoever, not even 1 pence. So hit that like, please. Support the channel so that every other Arsenal fan will be able to see this in their recommendations on YouTube. Anybody with a closing discussion or closing argument here at the moment?
I have 2 things. The first thing is, yes, Son is obviously a dangerous player, but we can't forget Harry Kane. He is a good striker. And I said, we had a discussion previously on a different podcast when I called him world class and everyone got on my back. So I won't repeat it, but we can't disregard him. He always shows up against Arsenal no matter what. And then the other thing I wanted to ask the panel is, do we think that Lazy is going to be in the squad, maybe on the bench? Interesting question. I mean, we can't go the whole season with him not included in the, like,
I uploaded a video yesterday on my channel, as you lot have already seen, and I stated in that video that if, as far as Guendouzi or Ozil's concerned, that's it for this season for them, and whatever they have to deal with, because it's an intangible, it's a distraction. When you're on the type of form like this, any team management will tell you that you have to disregard all those distractions. And that's why we're seeing them not on the team sheet, because they're not in the discussion at the moment. And the ones that are in the discussion are the ones that are excelling on the field. It's just the way how it's sports management. Yeah, it's just what you do. So I don't think we are going to see either player for the rest of the season.
So how do we expect Lazy to come into the team next season and all of a sudden start performing? Why would he when he's not being included in the team now? I mean, if I was in his position, I wouldn't really care to play. Not that he does anyways, but I'm just saying, I mean, if we don't play him or he's not in the squad, forget about Guendouzi. He's young and he still has time. I think it's more specific on Ozil, right? I mean, if he doesn't get into the team in the next 5 games, I don't see how he should be in the team next season. How he's even going to get in the team. And even if he does, I don't see him putting in any performance next season.
Okay, so I just want to go 2 sides on that. So first of all, we know that Ozil has been a big supporter of what Mikel Arteta has been doing on the team. He started literally every game before the lockdown started. But what's happened is apparently he wasn't well in the lockdown and he wasn't able to. I can only tell you what I've been told.
Just before you move on that point, actually, you know that Ozil, in all his time at Madrid, he was never injured or sick once. In his last 5 seasons at Arsenal, I think he's missed like 20 or 30 games.
Yeah, he's older now, so he's going to reoccur injuries. But anyway, what I'm saying is, when all the players came back, he wasn't at that level that he needed to be to play. So that's the official word. Yeah, I guess you take with it what you will. But look, I've looked at the games that he played in before when we were on the 8-game unbeaten streak, and Ozil played really well. As I said again, the Newcastle game we won 4-0. He was man of the match. Let's not. This isn't someone that the team's carrying. He does put his foot in, and he is a part of the solution when he's on his game. The problem is getting him on his game. That's where the problem is. And whatever's happening right now, if you're going to bring him back when he's not in the right mindset, he's not able to produce for the team and make himself accountable, then you don't play him. It's as simple as that.
It's interesting because he was a big part of what was going right at the club before lockdown. And I don't think he's lazy when he's on the pitch. He covers a lot of ground. He doesn't have that burst of pace, but he covers a lot of ground. If you look at the stats, he's always up in the top 3 players of distance covered during the game. He does about 10 or 11K a game. But now we're playing 3-4-3. You don't have that kind of playmaker role. So there's not really a place for him in this side now.
Agreed.
If we're doing 3-4-3, you don't have a player that plays in that position. And... You know, when
there's no number 10. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It was a 4-2-3-1 before the break, and that worked quite well for him because he was able to kind of float and pick up positions, and then everybody else kind of had their structure around him. But in a 3-4-3, you don't get that. So I don't know what's going to go on with him from now on.
I'll just say one thing. I've moved on. Oh, anyway. I have no comments.
I was wondering why you were so quiet.
I moved on. I'm done. I'm like Arteta. We're done. We're divorced. Yeah, that's it. It's all signed the papers, and I have a lot. I still have to give you a lot for the house. I give you a house and a car, and the Ferrari. Can you owe 18+ mil?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy, and he does. He seems to like have a little sniffle and miss a game. It's like. Yeah,
it's normal.
I mean, there's ways you can do this in terms of paying off his last year contract. You can get I mean, I know he's sponsored by Adidas, but you can get Fenerbahce to kind of try to facilitate that last year of payment as well. It's expensive. Do they really want to do that? Not at the moment. But the news that we've heard about the bonds being released and things like that, from what I've heard, actually James B told me that this means that the transfer budget, the 160 million, might be back on the table, because every week we've almost been talking about Stan Kroenke is saying he's going to release some funds, he's going to help out. Yeah, well, what are you going to do, mate? We ain't seen it. Now we've kind of seen something that answers a little bit of the questions that fans might have. So if that's the case, and that will deal with debt. Remember, we're just talking about debt, and debt would be running costs of the team, which you cannot shy away from. Yeah, these things have to be paid for: maintenance, wages, salary, staff, etc. You can't get away from those things. If that's going to be used to facilitate that, then the transfer kitty can then be enacted back for what it's supposed to be. Again, no official word. There is an upcoming Arsenal supporters club meeting. I don't know whether that's going to be a Zoom meeting, or I don't know whether that's going to be back in the normal channels. But look, right now we're just rolling with the punches. Yeah, they're throwing haymakers right now. We're just ducking and dodging, and this is a new territory for everybody and for all of the teams, and for the running of the teams as well. So, guys, listen, that's it. Anybody got any closing arguments before we shut it down?
I would want to say that I'm surprised it took them so long to refinance that debt. I'm sure they're paying a much higher rate they can get in today's market. And I don't know why they haven't gone to the window to borrow like Tottenham has. They can justify why they should go to the window, because they're paying 50 basis points on whatever they borrow, which is nothing. So I'm not sure why they haven't gone to the window. But I am optimistic. Unlike some Arsenal fan who are arrogant and think we're going to destroy Spurs tomorrow. All right, this is a derby. There's no such thing. I hope that we win tomorrow. I don't like to watch the TV on edge, and I get frustrated with us nowadays. In Wenger's days, I would go to my sit down, relax, and just realize that, you know what, it's going to be a fun day. We're going to win. I can relax and watch the game. This hasn't happened in the last 3 or 4 years, and it's ridiculous. I want the game to be over. I can't enjoy the game because I want the ref to press the whistle when we're leading because I know how good we are in losing leads. So my hope is tomorrow we'll make it an easy game.
I mean,
I'll relax.
I agree. I mean, my tension was my temperament was pretty stable until the African Gooner said to me, "Apollo, Lacazette is going to cost us. He's not backing his away." I was like, "Okay, we'll be fine. We'll be fine." Missed the second chance. "Apollo, I'm telling you, it's going to cost us. We'll be fine. We'll be fine." He missed the third chance, and you know what? When the African Gooner came back and said he's blowing it for us, I said, "You're right, bro." I can't try and defend Lacazette. You're totally right, and you know that's all I can say on the matter, man. Jeez, we should have been out of sight in that game, man.
Lisa's going to give a prediction, Apollo.
Yeah, go on, Lisa. Go for it. Oh, by the way, Lisa, don't forget to check out my Jada and Will Smith video.
Oh yeah, okay. I really want Arsenal, and I think Arsenal can stay at least 2 points ahead. So I'm going to say 2-0. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 3-1. That's
3-1. That'd be an exciting game.
Hey, 5-2 would be even more exciting. We all know about 5-2, don't we? As Arsenal fans.
A couple times.
All right, then, guys. Listen, that's it for us. Tom, where can we find you, bro?
What do you mean? Oh, I'm not a social media guy. I'm just here. You'll find me on your channels more than anywhere else.
Yeah, so you find him on 101's forums. You find him in Goon Squad on WhatsApp. La African Gooner, where can we find you, bro?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at La African Gooner and on YouTube as well, La African Gooner.
Excellent. Bertram, where can we find you?
I'm like Tom. You can find me in Arsenal 101.
Excellent, excellent. And guys who are not members of 101, the link is in the description below. I don't think I've set that up at the moment. I'll rush onto that, and I've got to run back to my daughter's university now and finish her packing because I'm getting my baby to come home now. So that'll be great. So guys, listen, tomorrow we were going to do a watch along, but I think we'll just go with our 8 o'clock show and we'll do player ratings and talk about the game tomorrow. That's going to be fun. We'll probably have a full panel. It will probably be 6 of us going through that. God, I can't wait. And so we'll see you then, guys. Nice one, guys. Peace out. Right back at you.
See you. Thanks, guys. Good to see you all.
Excellent.